Well, I'm here at the center on 17th. I'm at 17th and Tustin, and you might recognize the Raising Cane's behind me, but before that, there was once upon a time a claim jumper, which most of you probably know about, but before that, do you know what used to be there? Well, as we were saying, there used to be a claim jumper here. The first claim jumper opened in 1977 in Los Alamitos. This is a matchbook from that location. They're now run out of Texas, and they're disappearing from the Southern California scene, but once upon a time, recent Calvary grads in high school and college would hope to make a few tips working here. There are many former Calvary people who worked here. But the claim jumper's gone, and of course, as we said, in its location is Raising Cane's. But what was at this center on 17th before claim jumper? Well, starting in June of 1958, this site was home to an Alpha Beta supermarket. And look at that 1950s signage. The term Alpha Beta came from the fact that when they opened in Pomona in 1917, near where my parents live, they put everything in alphabetical order, every product, A, B, C, in terms of what the name of the product was. Eventually, they sold their own line of products like grocery stores do today. And if we look inside the store here, this is actually a Huntington Beach store in Brookhurst. In the 1970s, this is kind of what it would have looked like in terms of signage and marketing. The one big difference between the Huntington Beach store we're looking at here and the Santa Ana store is the roof line, though. Notice the roof line in this store is pointed, whereas the Santa Ana picture, it's flat. In 1961, Alpha Beta was purchased by American Stores. Eventually, through changing hands, it became part of the Ukaipa companies, who eventually purchased Ralph's and got rid of the Alpha Beta name. And it's been gone since 1995. Most of the Alpha Betas that people remember, your parents and grandparents, probably had a roof line kind of like this, slightly sloped and pointing, kind of looking like a mid-century modern home at the time these stores were first built. Almost like a ranch-style home, sprawling, low-slung with a sloping roof line. In a previous video we did, we visited Long Beach, and we saw a Smart and Final there that was originally an Alpha Beta, and you can tell by looking at this store right here, that glass and that roof line, it was once an Alpha Beta. But the Santa Ana store did not have these pointed roof lines. Instead, it was all about the sign. Flat roof with a sign shooting up to the sky, grabbing your attention with Alfie atop it, right here in what was then called the Hillview section of Santa Ana. We're going to continue down 17th Street. We're actually going to explore the architecture, the buildings of 17th Street, what's there now, and a little bit of what used to be here. And along the way, we are going to consider the question and put possible answers to the question of why does preservation matter? Why do old buildings matter? And what do we do about it? Okay, I'm trying to get there in time because we're losing architecture as I speak. This was Knowlwood's. And the building they're tearing down right now was once part of the restaurant. Back in 1957, Roy and Faye Knowlton partnered with Gene Wood to open the very first Knowlwoods along Imperial Highway in what is now Anaheim Hills. They called it the Orangewood Ranch, and it was surrounded by large avocado trees and open fields. Farmers and law enforcement would come by for the coffee and the hamburgers, which became famous. And eventually there were locations not just in Anaheim Hills, but Laguna Niguel and Fullerton. And more famously to me, the Santa Ana Zoo and this location just west of Tustin Avenue on 17th Street. The Toshoku Trading Company purchased it in 1989 as the Knowlwoods wanted to retire. And Faye Knowlton passed away at 91 in 2014 at her home in Yorba Linda. And here we see a picture of Faye Knowlton with her famous hamburger, which you can still get at the last remaining location in Irvine. And it was Faye's famous hamburgers that I enjoyed at the Santa Ana location, often with my dad. Because for many years, my dad and I both worked very close to Knowlwoods, and we loved coming here and the historic atmosphere. This side of the building was meant to look as a motor court or motel from the World War II time period. It was kind of Spanish revival. And then here you see this pinkish tower. And that section of the building was meant to look like an old service station where you'd get gas and have your car worked on. And when you went inside the building, the historicity continued. Because while the building might have not been from the World War II era, all of the memorabilia on the walls, even antiques from the time period were displayed, which really made you feel like you were in Orange County during World War II. It was a true time capsule. And I loved sitting there, especially in that Spanish Revival site that we just saw being torn down, because it had the wooden slats that were indicative of a building back during that time period, even screen doors that went nowhere, and river rock, all built into the design, which was common back during World War II. And I loved sitting there with my dad, feeling like we were transported to the time of my grandfather's youth. And of course, I did not expect to see that all being torn down today. I knew they were going to tear down Knowlwood. I did not know it was going to be today when I was doing this video about architecture on 17th Street. So as we look at this side of the building, I just imagine right inside that window, my dad and I eating there and enjoying those Knowlwood hamburgers, Faye's famous hamburgers. Now, after my kids were born and my dad had retired, I would come here with my son and my daughter, and we formed new memories here. So it's really difficult to watch this all being torn down. Now, this next little clip here we're going to look at is actually includes my commentary at the time. Okay, I'm really struggling here. I can't watch much more of this. I am going to come back and I'll document some more of the demolition later today, but I need to leave. So we're back and we can see they've made progress, if you want to call it progress. It's kind of ironic, progress in the demolition. Now you can see the painted wood inside. I remember sitting inside that room with those painted walls. That's pretty strong emotions here. Check back here in a little bit. So as the workday comes to an end, there's not much left of Knowlwood Santa Ana. We just have that center section, which was meant to evoke a World War II era gas station. Won't take much longer for them to completely demolish the old Knowlwood's restaurant in Santa Ana. In this cleared section here, just to the west of the service station tower, is where that old motel-style Spanish Revival building was that we looked at just a little bit ago. And you can see here in the front, there was a patio area where people could dine. And this is looking towards the rear of the lot, past this gate next to the motel. So now we're over here on the east side of the building. Not much left, a lot of rubble, a lot of rubbish here. Again, it's not going to take long for them to finish up. If we look here, we can see some of the signs that used to hang, old-fashioned style neon signs, no longer serving breakfast. I wonder what will happen with those signs. I'm just looking at the site as it's being cleared. So we're back, and we can see that the site has been cleared. The service station portion is now gone. Not much left here. You can see the signs that we were looking at, the hanging neon signs over in the far section of the lot. But the glass has now been broken. Someone needs to take those before they're thrown away and save them. The glass tubes have already been broken off. And the old Knowlwood is no longer. And we just have to wonder what's coming next. So with a heavy heart, I beg people to
to consider this. When you tear down old buildings, you're losing a connection to the past. Ask yourself, what connection am I destroying? What happiness am I taking away? What beauty is now gone? And ultimately, if I have to put up a new building, will it be more beautiful? What impact on the community will it have? So we will continue with our journey along 17th Street, looking at buildings that are interesting, buildings that we may lose in the upcoming years. But for now, I'd like to end this episode with this. Let's consider what we're tearing down. Let's consider what can't be replaced. Let's think first. And on a positive note, I want to say thank you to the Knowlton family. Thank you for building that restaurant on 17th Street that brought smiles to me, to my dad, and to my kids. God bless you. Have a great day.